So I want to tackle a Facebook question. I've wanted to tackle this for some time. It came in a few days ago. This is from Elaine. She says, "Hi, Hank. I have been praying for you. And my question is, what is the Christian view of when physical death occurs? I've looked at brain death, and there are different views, and also there is a coma and a vegetative state." Now that is a big question. It's a difficult question, and it's hugely important from the perspective of medical ethics, especially in the context of organ transplantation. For example, it would be clearly immoral to harvest organs from a person's body prior to the actual death of that individual. That seems self-evident, doesn't it? So being able to determine the point of death is of critical importance. We have an excellent article that grapples with this question. You can find it at equip.org. It's titled Postmodern Death, Organ Transplantation and Human Value. It's written by, this guy's just brilliant. I love reading everything he writes. Richard Poupard. Love his name too. Dr. Poupard wonders that although organ transplantation has saved many lives, he wonders about the remaining ethical issues, especially regarding the determination of when a patient dies. Brain death criteria have been widely accepted, and this has now changed the basis for determining death from biology to philosophy. Sound familiar? And we're now no longer determining gender by biology. We're determining gender by how we feel. And there are all kinds of gender expressions. I think Facebook last time I looked at like 57 different varieties. More varieties than you can find in an ice cream shop. But anyway, to fully appreciate the difficulty of the issue, consider that there have been at least 22 published reports of brain death mothers supporting and delivering, and that is via cesarean section, live human infants. Donation after cardiac death has evolved as an alternative method where a patient is actually allowed to die in a controlled manner in an attempt to save organs for donation. But both methods of determining death have the potential to decrease our human value at the end of life. Now, why is this question so important to me in this broadcast? Because we were talking about beginning of life issues. Beginning of life issues are of critical importance, but end of life issues are of critical importance as well. And I think about this a lot, particularly in my own family history, as you well know, Christina, in the Netherlands. We experienced the euthanization of some of our grandparents in a system that's socialistic, in which, well, this person doesn't have quality of life as determined by a doctor, and therefore euthanize that person. Mm-hmm. You also have this same kind of idea going on in the United States of America, where people don't value life at its end. And I've often told the story, and of course you were there to see this, of my dad. He was dying of a fibrosing of the lungs, and it was a very ugly death in the sense that he was suffocating to death. And I asked him once, wouldn't you sometimes rather go home in the midst of this suffering, go home and be with the Lord? He said, "No, Hank, every moment is precious." And then, this is the greatest story of all, he blessed all of his children, his grandchildren, and his great-grandchildren, and took one final breath and went home to be with the Lord.